welcome back to my channel, where today I'll be getting into drag and talking about Dragula season 6 because it's Friday the 13th and that just feels really fitting. I don't want to make the intro too long, I just want to get straight into the makeup so I can start talking about Dragula. So we're going to start out with primer. I use this one. This is the e.l.f. Power Grip primer. It's not my favourite primer. I've been kind of not really liking it recently, but it's the only one I have currently, so this is the one we're going to use. And then I'm also going to start out with the contour, and for that I'm going to use my Beauty Bay Bright Matte palette. And I want to go with more pinky tones today, so I think I'm going to be using this one mainly for contour with a little bit of the brown added in just to give it a more contour looking colour. Drag to me is such a fascinating art form that I admire from a long way away. I don't go to clubs currently because I'm at that age where I just feel really stressed out if I'm in clubs. But I do love watching drag online, and specifically I'm a very big fan of Dragula, which if you don't know just finished airing its 6th main season. And it, to me, was the best season they have ever done. And that's for so many different reasons that I really want to talk about, because I don't know anyone in my real life that actually watches Dragula other than my sibling who I already watched the show with. So I thought it'd be fun to put all those thoughts into a video format. Back to the makeup for a second. So the colour is all on my face, and now I'm going to cut everything out in white. This is the Kimchi the Most concealer in solid white. And to do the contour, I just put a little bit on the back of my hand and then I use a separate brush. You could use the brush on the applicator, but I don't because I don't want to dye this by mistake, so I just leave it as is and just put it on the back of my hand instead. Starting off with the first thing I actually noticed about this season was that they are actually doing clowns this year, they are actually dressing like clowns. And if you haven't seen the other seasons, this wouldn't seem like a big thing, but to me it's so good to finally see because no one ever does clowns on the show. My theory is that they all think that it's the obvious choice and therefore someone else will do it, but then it ends up with no one doing it. And that just makes me really sad because I like clowns. I wear kind of clowncore inspired clothing. So I want to see more clowns on the TV show, but they never do it. But this season they did tons of clowns, so many clowns to the point where the Boulets were telling them they needed to do less clowns. Especially the first episode, there were loads of clowns and even the winner was a clown. Asia Consent did an Art the Clown look from The Terrifier because they were doing recreations of gothic horror. Gothic horror? Classic horror. I don't know why I said gothic horror. And that look made me instantly fall in love with her because it's so amazing. If you haven't seen it, I will try and flag pictures up on the screen as I'm talking about them because I really do want more people to see this drag and really appreciate this show because I never hear anyone talking about it, and I really want more people to watch it because it's so good. It's on Shudder, which you do have to pay for. But when we started watching it, we got a 7-day free trial and we just watched all the seasons pretty much. And we bought Shudder to watch the new season. But back to Asia for a second, she was just really captivating in that episode and did something really different with a character that everyone can recognize. If you don't think you recognize The Terrifier, you probably do because a new film came out recently. And that actually brings me pretty well onto my second point. But before I get onto the second point, I am going to go back into the makeup a little bit. So now that all the contour is down, I do need to powder it down because right now it's really stark white. So I'm going to go in with powder. This is the e.l.f. Halo Glow powder. And I'm just going to buff that all over my face, even onto my eyelids where I've also put the white on. And I'm also going to map out my eyeliner. And for that, I'm going to use my NYX eyeliner. I feel like this is running out though, so I'm really worried that I'm not going to have enough eyeliner to do the whole look, so I'm going to keep the eyeliner a little bit smaller than I normally would. The second reason why I love this season of the show is that the contestants are so engaging. I think the reason for this was that they all entered the show with a plan on how they wanted to play the game. For example, Auntie, sorry, I say that name wrong because in England we say auntie, but the pun doesn't work if I say it that way, so I really have to remind myself to say auntie. It's auntie. Anyways, Auntie, Pie and Asia are all doing this back and forth alliance thing, which was really funny to me. You could tell no alliances were ever really gonna work, but it was still happening anyways. Then you had Yuri's storyline of gaining confidence and actually doing some of my favourite looks of the season. And then my favourite contestant of the season, Grey Matter, finally showing us that mask queens don't have to always have the same face every week. They did some of the coolest masks I've ever seen and also did my favourite drag look of all time, I think, which I'll put on the screen obviously, because it's so gorgeous and it deserves more love. But in a lot of the previous seasons, mask queens have had a really bad rep of just being really lazy, and it's because they kind of were. I do feel like they get a little bit too much hate sometimes because some of the other drag queens that do makeup also don't change up their face every week. But with a lot of mask queens, you kind of just have this dead mask that doesn't really go with the outfit, whereas Grey Matter really built it into the outfit and really made it part of the piece. And I just think it's really clever artistry. They look like they stepped out of a video game. That's why I love them so much. Makeup wise, I now have all of the base done, so all of my contouring and the mapping out of the eyeliner is now all finished. So I can finally get into doing some fun eyeshadow and adding more colour to this look. And for that, I'm going to use my Trixie Mattel palette. This is the Girl Talk palette because it feels fitting to use a drag palette on a drag makeup look. I think what my plan is that I'm going to start out with the pink, put that at the front of the eye, blend it out into the yellow on the edges, and then use the dark pink glitter as like tears, because I really like the look of like glittery tears. I just think they look really cute, especially with drag. I basically just want to keep it very simple. If you can't tell already, I'm not really going for a Dracula inspired look. I'm just kind of doing the regular drag look that I normally do, mainly because I haven't done drag in 7 months and I'm worried about fucking it up, so I'm just going to keep it as simple as possible. I also feel like the editing was a lot cleaner this season. Something that me and my sibling really notice about watching Dracula is the editing. It can be very choppy and stretched out. It's at its worst in the Titans season. I think the episodes are just too long for the amount of footage that they had. It also didn't help that the same boring drama was brought up constantly. They also didn't have exterminations, and we didn't like the song they used for the floor show. It's just not a good season. Season 6 is a lot cleaner. You notice the editors way less, which is the mark of a good editor. Editing done by a professional shouldn't be distracting unless it's purposely distracting. And yes, I know I can't edit before anyone says that. I really wish I was better at editing, and I am trying to get better, but I don't think the fact that I can't personally edit should go against the fact that I don't think the editing is that great on Dragula. I think it just needs to be more concise and clean, and this season is a really good show of how they can do that if they just did a little bit more with it. So the eyeshadow came out really cute. I'm really happy with it. I know it doesn't really go with the theme of this video. It's very pastel and cute, but I personally adore it. I really tried to bring it more up onto my eyebrows than I normally do for drag, because sometimes I make my drag makeup really small and I actually want it to be a lot bigger. So I wanted to do it a little bit higher, just to give it kind of the impression of eyebrows without having to put any eyebrows on. But anyway, on to my next steps for the makeup. I'm going to start by filling in the black eyeliner with the same eyeliner pen, and then I'm also going to outline it in white eyeliner. I feel like it just makes the eyes pop a lot more and look a lot more draggy. Challenge-wise, I think overall they were on par with previous seasons, but I did love the D&D episode of this season because they made it choreographed battles, and the Holiday of Horrors had some amazing drag showcases. The exterminations were the same. I skipped the needles because I hate watching needles. I just can't watch needles going through skin. I think it's episode 2 this season that they do that. We always skip the ending just because it's too much. We don't like it. But I did love the paintballing and the swimming with sharks. I would love to go swimming with sharks because I think sharks are so cute. They're like little dogs of the ocean. I really want to pet one. But like I said before, I think it was the cast that really brought this season up for me. I just enjoyed their dynamic a lot more than I have with the last few seasons. There was a lot more clashing personalities and a wider range of drag styles in my opinion. So I feel like it doesn't really matter what the challenges are. It really works as a season because of the cast that they chose. And in the season itself, the Boulets actually say that they were all wildcard picks. I'm not quite sure what they mean by that, but I kind of feel like it just means that they pick the most dramatic people, the most TV ready people. And I feel like it really went well for this season, so I really hope they continue doing that in the future. So this is the eyeliner all finished, and it came out really well, and my pen didn't run out, but I do still have to use it for my lips, so fingers crossed it doesn't run out for that. I might have to switch to using black eyeshadow just in case. I do have a black lipstick, but it's really dry because it's quite old at this point. I think this is 3 years old. It's a Cult Candy Cosmetics liquid lipstick. You can even tell by the packaging falling apart that this is an old lipstick. It's in the shade Brutal, and I do love this lipstick, but again, it's really dry, so I don't know how much I can use of this. I'm also thinking of adding some little hearts to my face, maybe on my cheeks and on my nose, just to make it look a little bit cutesier, because I really like the cute vibes I'm getting so far. I feel like I should really round off my thoughts for discussing episode 4, which was Ghost Train, because it's the first time I've ever watched Dragula where I've turned it off halfway through the main challenge. And it's not because it's a bad episode or anything like that, it's because they weren't dressed as trains. They were ghosts on a train, they weren't ghost trains. And that may sound like a strange reason to stop watching, but me and my sibling got way too overexcited about the fact that they were going to be dressed as trains, and then they weren't, and we were so disappointed we just stopped watching. For context, we love Starlight Express, the musical where the characters were all toy trains. So we thought that this task was going to be exactly like that, like they would be on roller skates dressed as trains. And then they weren't, but it was just too much. We were not having a great day in general as well, and then they just weren't actual trains, so we just stopped watching. I have watched the episode now though. It is a good episode and the drag is really good on that episode. They are just not trains. So if you're watching it and you're expecting trains, they're not going to be trains. They are going to be people. And that's really disappointing. So for once, I actually did a drag lip that I'm really happy with. Usually I'm really indecisive of how I like to do my drag lip, but I feel like this really goes with the makeup. So I'm going to try and stick to the shape in the future if I ever even do drag again. I do drag like every 6 months and I really love it, and then I don't do it again because it's so much makeup and so much effort and it takes such a long time that I just can't really do it that often, but I am really happy with this lip, and we are going to go with the final touch, which is setting spray. And for that I use the e.l.f. Power Grip Dewy Setting Spray. And if you're wondering why I don't have any eyelashes on even though I'm doing drag, usually I say it's because I can't stand fake eyelashes because I can't. But today I'm going to say it's inspired by Dracmorder for getting his eyelashes on one of the episodes of Dracula this season, which was honestly one of the funniest moments in Dracula history, where he's just staring at Swan and then realises that his face feels really light because he doesn't have eyelashes on. It's so good. With that said, that is actually all the makeup now finished. I'm just going to quickly put on a wig and then I'm going to come back for the outro. And this is the drag look all complete. I feel like it came together really well. I did think this fringe was shorter on this wig than it actually is. I thought it was more up here, and I do feel like it would look better with a shorter fringe, but it's okay for what we've got. I really like this wig. If you want to see me making it, I actually made a video on it that I will link down in the description, because I feel like it really works well for drag looks because of how dramatic the pigtails are. But anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video and enjoyed listening to me talk about Dracula, because I feel like it's such a good show and more people need to discuss it. I also hope you enjoyed my drag look today, because I feel like it came out really cute and it looks better than some of the other drag looks I've done on YouTube. If you did enjoy both of those things, please give the video a like down below, comment what else you'd like me to do, and subscribe, as I post 2 new videos every single week, and I'd love to see you again. But until then, bye!